Oh, we'll come in after the song. We'll do Let Lonesome Trail Set the Scene.
Okay.
So you've got 4 minutes.
This is a good lead-in because we're playing this weekend, and Todd the Fox is one of the acts.
Right.
Todd's playing dobro on this album.
Oh, very nice. I keep meaning to schedule with Todd to get him in here. Been doing this show for nearly 19 years, and I still haven't had Todd in here. I feel like that's an oversight on my part. Because he's a great musician.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of original material, but he's a great performer.
Oh, well, I mean, and he came in and talked to some of my students one time, and it was just fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
He was so thoughtful. He demonstrated everything he was talking about, walked them through kind of how he wrote a song when the inspiration just hit him. Really delightful. And streaming is up. Hello, people on Facebook. Hope you're safe and happy and content wherever you might happen to be. Are you tempted to play along? About a minute and a half. Nice harmonies there. So is that Todd? That's Todd on dobro? A little less than 60 seconds. About 30 seconds. Mics are hot. Tim Gebard here on your Tuesday afternoon alternative with the Lonesome Trail. You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative on WUDR Dayton, rocking the Gem City, music in all direction. Support your local music scene. I have Tim Gebard here in the studio. We're going to talk about his new album, Abbey Avenue, which is a Dayton reference, people, not that other reference that you might be thinking about. Tim, welcome.
Hi, Art.
How you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with just talking about the album. So you and I were talking off air. Abbey Avenue is a reference to Dayton, it's not a reference to, of course, the Beatles.
Right. Off of Route 35 as it goes through the Dayton connector there, there's a street that's 2 blocks long, one side on either side of 35 called Abbey Avenue. So the official album title is Abbey Avenue 45417, which is the Dayton zip code.
Right.
But because it was so close, I mean, why not? And when we decided to do a vinyl, I wanted to do the whole thing, and because I'm old enough, I remember, getting the album at the store and looking at the covers and
Yes.
opening it up and seeing the lyrics and the credits and studying everything that was going on and who was playing. And I wanted to do something like that. So that's the theme we used, and it's kind of fun.
Well, and I miss that. Poring over the album cover and just taking it in, inspecting it, like exploring, the album cover, what's obvious, what's not so obvious, what did the artist of the band or whomever involved in the creation of that, what did they try to make, what were obvious ideas, like say even what you guys did with the cover of this record. You evoke the Abbey Road Beatles record with you guys walking the zebra stripes or walking across the road there, including the wearing or not wearing of shoes and things like that. So it's almost like you're in the image of your record. You're not only hearkening back to that era when people would rush home with the vinyl and like inspect it and just take everything in, but you're also hearkening back playfully to the Beatles, Abbey Road.
Sure, and that's a good comparison if anybody wants to make that.
I can think of worse records, Tim.
I wasn't going for that, but it works. So
Tim Gebard here in the studio talking about his new record. You guys also have quite a big show coming up.
Yeah, Saturday night we're going to do the vinyl album release at Yellow Cab, and we have a good lineup. I don't know if it was necessarily planned this way, but I haven't played the Yellow Cab myself a lot. I was one of the original crew that built the stages there when they were first getting started.
I remember that time period.
But
yeah.
Haven't played there myself, but we're going to open up with Rich Reuter. He's going to do a solo acoustic act. Novena is going to come up second. They're going to do this will be one of their nights when it is a duo Novena.
Oh, okay.
And then Todd the Fox Trio, and then my band, the Hitmen, will close the show out. So it's kind of evocative of, if anybody remembers the old rock and roll play date days about 5 or 6 years ago on Sunday nights. Todd the Fox was one of the co-hosts of that, along with Mr. Madewell, and that became a thing for a while. But anyway, and I should point out that give credit where credit's due. Todd was playing dobro on that first track that we played there, The Lonesome Trail. So Todd's kind of he was one of the official Hitmen when we first got started. He's doing his own thing, but he might actually wander onto the stage when we're playing and play a few licks. So.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So I know you brought your guitar. Any chance we can convince you to jump into a song early?
Sure. There's a couple of songs. It's actually one song, but I've done a full version and then a reprise version, which we've done on the album too. I don't know about other people, but when I write songs, I usually try them different ways to see what seems to work. Oh. And this particular song...
And that's like part of your process where you...
Sure.
Okay, here's a song, does this work well with just me, or like a duo or a trio, or okay, now let's try a full band. So do you go through that kind of process where you're working up different variations of who all is playing on the song?
I wouldn't say that, but it's more a trying to get a different kind of feel for tempo and that kind of thing, and testing out lyrics to make sure that the math is right, so that words fit where they're supposed to fit and that kind of thing. I might have to come back to that though.
That's interesting, because I could see where with a full band there might be more energy, or well, of course there's just more instruments, right? There's more things you can play with.
Right.
Whereas when it's just you, or like say a duo or a trio, there are obvious limitations just in terms of what a limited number of people could do.
Exactly. And usually, I remember years ago listening to an interview with John Mellencamp, and he was talking about his process, and he's like, every song for him starts out as a folk song, because he's writing it by himself on an acoustic guitar. And there's only so much you can do. Even if you're a fantastic guitar player, you got to first have the song. And so when I started on this, it was just me and an acoustic guitar. But when I got in the studio, I had some things that I heard as I was writing it, but I couldn't play it. I still can't play them, but I can still hear them. So we were able to do some things in the studio to approach that. And even on this particular song, we started in one studio, and it still wasn't quite getting there, so we took it and finished it at another studio, and the other studio was Trojan City Studios, and a guy Seth Cannon.
Yeah, a lovely man and a great musician.
Yeah, which actually fits the song, because the song is called "Accidental Probably," and that whole process was accidental. And you'll hear on the album, the song actually starts out with Seth Cannon playing an instrument he doesn't usually play, and I don't think even his bandmates knew he could play. He starts out with kind of a drum solo at the beginning of the album. So obviously that's not happened on me and the acoustic guitar.
You need more hands, Tim.
But it was also accidental because I wasn't trying to write a song. I was actually just kind of practicing a little bit on the guitar, and I fell into this, and the lyrics reflect that too. So you want me to do that?
Please.
Okay, I'm going to give it a try. So. Hold on a minute. I got some cable issues here.
Oh yeah. We should have moved those around for you. Sorry about that. My bad.
Okay. All right, now let me start it out again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I don't know how this song found me. Accidental, probably. If you listen for a while, we might find an accidental smile. La 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 la. La 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 la. Late last night I heard you call. Flew as fast as my feet could fall. Standing in the corner, I felt 10 feet tall. Took one look and I said, that's all. La 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 la. La 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 la. Calling, calling, falling, falling. Well, I don't know how this dream come true. Gonna blame it all on you. Don't need a ring or a new tattoo. Took one look, baby, and I knew. La da 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 da, la la. La 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 la, la la. Calling, 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 calling. Well, I don't know how this girl found me. Accidental, probably. Don't know how this dream comes true. Gonna find a way with you. La 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 la, la la la.
Tim Gebard here in the studio. I've got to say, Tim, that piece at the end, is that like a little coda that you wrote after?
Well, that's the reprise on the album, which is
okay.
so. But when we originally did it, again, it was up tempo because that's what I was. It was accidental.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing, just kind of working my fingers out, and it's kind of a funny story. My partner was in the other room, so I was kind of waiting, as you sometimes do, to go somewhere, and I thought, well, I'll just play my guitar because this could be a while, and I'm just going through that, and she comes out and said, "That's the best song you've ever written."
Oh.
I said, well, it's not a song. She says it should be.
Yeah,
So-
right.
So it was accidental. That's the whole thing.
Even the creation of the song, or the idea, that groove was accidental.
Yeah, so with some encouragement, which my best fan, I'm like, okay, well, so it was kind of accidental, and that's what I said. The lyrics, the song, I had no intention at the time, but then once we had that done, one of the things that I learned early on when I started doing some recording and stuff was, you might think you know what the song is, but until you go in and you start playing it with other people, or maybe in front of an audience, you don't really know what the song is. It will reveal itself to you as you've had some time with it. And so I learned that, well, okay, I started playing it up tempo. What happens if I slow that down?
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of a feel. And it just worked out. So when we did the album, having a chance to work with Jeff Madewell, and I invited Jeff to come in and play, because he's one of the greatest guitarists I've ever heard, or I've ever had a chance to play with. And he did the first song, the up tempo. and just blew everybody away with his guitar work. And then I said, well, you know, let's try this other thing.
Yeah.
And his ears were so good that we slowed it down. And he, being a guitar player, he didn't necessarily hear that as much, and he just wanted to be in the background on the slower, quieter part. But he added some other things, like he added some chimes and bells and stuff
really?
like that. It's a really nice track on the album, even though it's very short. But it kind of gets the first part of the song, up tempo, everything kind of upbeat and kind of smart alecky a little bit in the lyrics. But the second part really gets to what the feeling is.
Well, and that's so interesting. That here's a player who's almost saying, what this needs is less of me, or less of my guitar work, right?
Right.
I would expect that most musicians would be arguing more, right? More of me or more of my instrument or something like that. But to have that presence of mind to know, no, what serves the song is this. That's impressive.
Yeah. So I was real pleased with that. One of the reasons I want to promote the album, I want people to hear Jeff's work.
Oh, absolutely.
Along with the other people that I play with.
Yeah, you saw me coming a mile away. Like,
yeah.
Who all worked on this album? I know you and I were looking at the album cover earlier and talking about it. But for people who are listening right now, Tim Gebard, the Abbey Avenue, and then the Dayton zip code, which I will never remember without looking. I have to be honest,
Right.
people, without looking. But who all played on the album, and what did they bring to the creation of this record?
Well, when I get into the studio, basically I have the song.
Yeah.
Okay, but I tend to leave a lot of space for players, because I'm more of a songwriter. I'm not necessarily a great player, who anybody who's ever played with me will tell you. But
I think you're being unduly hard on yourself there.
my biggest collaborator is my son Aaron, because everything I've ever done, he's written the bass parts for, and they're always exactly what the song needs.
Yeah.
And everybody who's played with us, and the Hitmen is, I call the band, there's a lot of Hitmen out there, a lot of people that we've played with. They're all very impressed with the bass work that we do. So it starts with Aaron. One of my best buddies, Daniel Cook, plays keyboards. He also can play drums. So on a lot of the studio work, just to shorten the studio time, he'll come in and do a drum part, and then he'll add his keyboards, and then he comes and sings music too. So he's a singer. A lot of people in the Dayton area know Daniel because he is a music minister at his church.
Right.
But he also plays with the Darren Bell Band, and the Dayton Funk All-Stars. So, he brings a lot.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Plus, he's a good guy, and all these people are just really good people that you want to hang around with. Greg Schultz plays congas. Wasn't so much on my first CD because he didn't really want to be with the band. But, he plays when he's available. And you'll hear him throughout this album. Greg also plays with the local group called Dipspit, who is an interesting act to say the
and
least.
very, very different than the music you make.
Oh yeah. Sarah Caston plays violin and fiddle, and she plays about anything. Anything I throw out there, she'll come in and she'll play against it. Sarah's played mostly with symphonies. So, the Lima Symphony, Springfield Symphony, Miami Valley Symphony. But then she lived in Alaska, I guess, several decades ago, and she played bluegrass too, which is unusual for a lot of symphony players because they like to have things written out and
Oh.
know exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
We
right.
don't always know exactly what's going to happen.
And she works well with that?
Yeah, she's fine with very creative. And I've learned a lot of music from her, and we're able to apply that. For instance, in the song Spy Rock to Wayside Station, you'll hear violin throughout the song, but at the end it kind of builds to almost a symphonic kind of crescendo.
Yeah.
And that's because of her influence, you know. I mean, I learned a lot about real music. I mean, I'm not a trained musician or songwriter.
Right.
But she comes in and hears things and said, "Oh, this is what that is."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She said, "You're already doing that, but here's what it really is."
Yeah, yeah.
Todd the Fox, I mentioned, he played on the first song that we played. What was it? The Lonesome Trail. But he's also played on a lot of other music with us and a lot of live performances with us. He plays the electric guitar on the song Better Angels. Actually, if you have that, I don't know if you have that queued up or not, but
Well, and Steve Makofka.
Steve
as well.
Makofka.
Good friend of ours.
Right, Steve plays everything, and he always tells me I expect him to play something more. So,
Oh dear.
we hadn't seen Steve for a while, and he showed up at an open mic that Aaron and I were doing, and he said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" I said, "Well, what are you doing?" He said, "Yeah, let's play some music." So he always has played keyboard and accordion, which I have a lot of material that accordion fits well with.
Yeah,
but then in our live performances, we've had him break out a flute, so he'll add some flute. He's started playing harmonica because we do some blues things that harmonica fits.
Sure.
And he's like, "Well, you got anything else?" Yeah. So he always comes to, it takes him a long time to get set up for practice and performances because he's carrying all these different instruments.
I'm thinking he must have like a dozen cases that he's bringing in with him.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Let me see if I've forgotten anybody here. Oh, one of the players who plays with us on studio, if you hear any sax work in any of our songs,
Right.
it's Reginald Harmon, who, like Daniel Cook, is well known in the black church around the area, but Reggie, great horn player, and he's done I don't know how many solo albums of his own. He's into smooth jazz and that kind of thing. So we have a few songs that need that, but then we also have some songs that need some rock and roll. You'll hear him in Better Angels, the Coronavirus Ball, Anthem, which I don't know if you have Anthem up.
I do.
That would be a good tune to listen to if you want to hear some great sax towards the end.
Oh, very
especially.
good. Well, Tim, you've got plenty of time. You don't have to rush out or anything.
No.
So we are here with Tim Gebard, who has a new record that is coming out, and a big show this Saturday at the Yellow Cap Tavern. Tim Gebard and the Hitmen with Todd the Fox Trio, Novena Duo, and more. As well as, it sounds like, a few surprises along
Rich
the way.
Reuter.
Rich Reuter, I believe, kicks off the night.
Yes.
And so make plans now to go to Yellow Cap this Saturday to catch this. And let's illustrate some of what we're talking about here. And we're clear. Very good.
Did you is that enough live?
Oh, no, we're not done.
No,
I didn't want to
mean-
be presumptuous.
I mean this.
Oh, I couldn't talk into one more? One more.
Yeah, you
One more.
probably could. You probably could. Let me see.
One more song. No, okay. And just me saying it over and over, you just tell me to shut up.
Oh no, that's fine. Let me see.
I really appreciate how thoughtful you are, Tim. That you have a deep appreciation for the musicality that goes into the songcraft, and I appreciate that.
Well, I've learned a lot in the last 10 years.
Excuse me.
See, I didn't start doing this until it's about 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? And then we probably talked about that like before, like the last time you were here. I knew you started making songs later in life, but you'd always had an interest in music, but you didn't really pursue it until later, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people are out there, who have an interest in music, have talent or abilities, but just for one reason or another, they just don't get around to exploring that side of themselves.
Well, you get older, you start having kids. That's more important.
Of course,
there are
of
other
course.
more important things.
Yeah.
And I know, like, we're doing this thing at Yellow Cab, and not only my friends, but family who are, like, younger, they're like, oh, you're not even starting until 8 o'clock? I mean, I go to bed at 9 o'clock. What's the... And I'm
Right,
like,
right.
well, can't
Well, especially if you have little kiddos.
Yeah, and that's like... So, a lot of my friends, they always ask me about music, but they ain't gonna come out and, see a show, because
I don't think they're being mean-spirited.
No,
They just have
they're
other
asleep.
obligations or other things, or they're just
asleep.
tired.
Yeah, and my situation was different, because I had a life experience that changed
Right.
my trajectory, and so I had plenty of time. But and one of the things that I did to kind of do that was, start taking some music lessons.
Oh, so that kind of jump-started your recording of music, your making of music.
Yeah,
was taking lessons.
Well, and plus during this whole period, I had an acoustic guitar, and I wrote some songs because that was my creative side coming out.
Yeah.
So I had all these songs, and I didn't know if they were any good or not, because I never played with anybody.
I see.
As a matter of fact, when I started the studio, the first project was just going to be something that my son and I could do. So,
like
have
sitting on the
that
proverbial
connection.
back porch or something, and just
or
hanging
go into
out
the
and-
studio and making it a project, and we could work
Yeah.
together on it. And then I had a few other family members that came in and helped, and some friends that I had.
Yeah.
And so it allowed us to pull together, some people, and then I met a lot of great people along the way too. So that makes it nice when that happens.
So does it feel like the folks you play with and that you make music with, that it becomes like a family?
In
Or a
a
community,
sense.
if not a family?